here to discuss a topic with cost evaluation, cost benefit evaluation technique, software project management. So first of all, as you know that cost and benefit have to be expressed using the same scale for the comparison point of view, and usually we express in payments at a certain time. So we show it in terms of times and all in cash flow table, and payments at different points in time are not comparable based on their time, only on the amount basis. And time of payment should be considered. Instead of time of payment is also being considered. Not only the amount is important. So these are the different techniques that I will be explaining here. So the techniques of cost benefit evaluation techniques are: first one is net profit, second one is payback period, third one is return on investment, in short it's known as ROI. Fourth one is net present value, and fifth one is internal rate of return. So I am going to explain one by one. The first one is net profit. So what is basically net profit? It is the difference between the cost, total cost that is involved in your project, and total income over the lives of the project. So whatever the income or whatever the benefits you are getting, and whatever the cost involved in the project, total cost involved in the project, it is basically a different of these two. So if I talk about the pros and cons, so pros is that we can easily calculate it, and the cons is, first one is does not show profit related to size investment, and second one is does not consider timing of payments. So in this timing of payments is not considered, only the amount is considered, and it is not very much useful other than the back of envelope evaluation. Means after the project is completed we can evaluate it. Second technique, that is payback period. So what is payback period? Payback period is basically a time taken to break even or pay back the initial investment. That means in this that is the period, it is a period in which you are starting to get your amount or your payment, whatever the cost is basically involved in this. When you are getting benefit, that year or that period is basically known as payback period. If I talk about the pros is it's also easy to calculate, and it gives some idea about the cash flow impact. And the cons is it ignores overall profitability, because as we get that year where we are getting the benefit, uh, that end, and it's not only useful by itself, but a good measure for cash flow impact is also useful. Third technique is ROI, that is return on investment, and sometimes it is also known as accounting rate of return, in short ARR. It provides a way of comparing the net profitability to the investment required. So by this we can compare of the different products or projects according to their profitability and all. And the formula for calculating this is ROI can be calculated by this formula, that is average annual profit. Whatever the annual profit we are getting, we just take the average of this, and then divide by total investment, whatever the total cost or investment is involved, and total multiplied by 100. So by this formula we can calculate ROI. So now the pros and cons are: pros is we can easily calculate it, and the cons is it does not consider the timing of payments. So here it's also consider only the amount, not the timing, and it's also misleading that it does not consider the interest rate, bank interest rate and all, and it's also not very much useful other than the back of envelope valuation. So now I am going to take one example and then I will explain these first three techniques. So this is the different cash flows are shown here for a project. So suppose there is a project and the first column is basically showing the year. So year wise means zeroth year. Suppose 1 lakh rupees amount is basically involved in the project. That is the cost which are involved or expenditure. So here whatever the cost or whatever the expenditure that represents in negative. So we have been represented in negative value, and these others are shown in positive value. That means these are positive values, means income, benefits, all other things are basically represented in positive value. So this is the cost which are involved, and these are the benefits which are we are getting. Means first year we are getting 10,000, second year we are getting 10,000, third year we are getting 10,000, fourth year we are getting 20,000, and fifth year of launching a project we are getting the total amount benefit which we are getting is 1 lakh. Okay, so as I told you, now we can calculate net profit. So already told you net profit can be calculated using this formula. Right? Total income over the life cycle of project minus total cost. So with this example, you can see that total income is this one, means whatever we are getting from first year to fifth year. So when we will add it 50,000 and then 1 lakh, means 1 lakh 50,000 is the benefit which we got from first year to fifth year, and the cost which was involved is 1,000, 1 lakh. Sorry. So we can calculate net profit by this formula. So total benefit was 1.5 lakh, and involvement or cost involved was 1 lakh. So after this you will get 50,000. That is basically the net profit. Second, that is payback period. So I already told you that a payback period is basically a time taken to break even or pay back the initial investment. Means, as you can see from this example, in this example, in first year we are getting 10,000, then 10,000, then again 10,000, then 20,000. Means up to fourth year, how much amount we got? Only 50,000, and involved amount or the cost which was involved was 1 lakh. So till fourth year, the benefit was not getting, only 50,000, and the cost involved was 1 lakh. That 50,000 is still there, and in fifth year, getting 1 lakh. So in basically in fifth year, the income or benefit was coming. So uh, this payback period will be 5 years, fifth year, 5 year. Okay, and next one is ROI. So for the calculation of ROI, this is the formula, that is average annual profit divided by total investment. So if I talk about the profit, so these are the profit part from first year to fifth year. So we can first of all add this. So it will get we will get it 1.5 lakh, and divided by this one, divided by the 5, as this amount came after 5 years. So can do it like this. Average annual profit will be 50,000 because cost was involved, that was involved was 1 lakh, and total benefit that we got is 1.5. That means benefit was, or annual profit was 50,000. So this was the overall profit. Now we will have to calculate for per year profit. So we will divide it by 5 years, as we are getting it in 5 years. In 5 years. So 50,000 divided by 5 and then divided by total investment. What is the total investment? That is 1 lakh. Okay. And then multiplied by 100. So after this calculation, we will get 10%. When you will calculate it, you will get this 10%. That is the ROI. So ROI is 10%. Next technique is net present value or NPV. So what is this one? What is NPV? So it is a technique that takes account the profitability of the project and the timing. Means in this case, as till now, these three technique was basically consider either amount or time, but this technique considered both. That is the amount as well as the timing of the project. So it is the sum of all incoming and outgoing payments discouraged using the interest rate to a fixed point in time, that is present time. So for the calculation of this net present value, we will use this formula. That formula is net present value. Present value is equivalent to value in year T, that is the year, first year, second year, third year, like this. T represents the time or year, divided by 1 plus R power T, where R is the discount rate and T is the number of years, as I told you, number of years into the future that the cash flow occurs. And we can calculate this discount factor using this formula. It is 1 divided by 1 plus R power T. So hence we can say that NPV, net present value, is equivalent to, if you put this, then this one will be, that is 1 by 1 plus R power T, that is discount factor into value in year T. So by this formula we can calculate NPV, that we'll see later. So this 1 plus R power T, that is basically known as discount factor. So suppose here there is an example. Suppose in this case the rate is 10%, and suppose we are calculating for the first year or 1 year. So discount factor will be equivalent to 1 divided by 1 plus, and then R is, that rate is 10%. So 10 divided by 100, that is 0.10, and it is calculating for first year, that means power 1. So we'll get this value, and same we can calculate for second year. So the rate is same. So after putting all the values, as it will be power of 2, that means 1.10 into 1.10, and we'll get this value. So I will explain it in the example, by taking an example. So this is the example. So as these are showing years and cash flows, that was in previous example, and now we are going to calculate discount factor and discounted cash flow. So discount factor already shown you how it will be calculated. Means by using this formula we can calculate it. 1 divided by 1 plus r power t. So whenever we will put these values, so for first case, that is for 0th year, it will come 1. Then for first year, that I have been calculated here. So 1 divided by 1 plus, as r is 10%, so it will be 0.10 power 1 means for first year. So we'll get this value. Same as for the second year, we have been already calculated here. So it is this one. For third year, it will be the power of 3. So this value will come. For fourth year, it will be the power of 4 and then power of 5. So these are the discount. These are basically the NLP for a particular year. And now next column is showing the discounted cash flow. So first one is discounted cash flow is basically calculated by multiplying these two, that is cash flow into discount factor. So we can calculate it easily. So whenever we'll calculate this 1 lakh in minus into 1, then we'll get this one. And then second case, in first year 10,000 into 0.9091, we'll get this one. Same as we will calculate for this, then this one into this 10,000 into 7513, that will get this one. And then 20,000 into 6.683, 13,660, and so on. And after this, when we'll calculate it, so this one is first value is in minus, negative, and all values are in positive. When we will add this, then we'll get this, that is 618. So total net present value NPV will be 618. So by this way we can calculate this value, net present value. So if we come to we talk about the pros and cons. The pros is basically it takes into account profitability, consider a time of amount payment also, and consider economic situation through discount rates. So for the different project, there in some cases the rates may be different. So this is the cost. Means if discount rate can be difficult to choose. That is the main problem. Standard measures to compare different options. So here we have to take standard measure for the comparison purpose. Coming to the last technique, that is internal rate of return. In short, it is known as IRR. So this IRR is basically the discount rate that would produce an NPV of 0 for the project. So it is basically, as it is the rate of return, this is the discount rate on that the net present value will be the 0 for the project. So it can be used to compare the different investment opportunities. We can calculate it for exploring the different investment opportunities. And there is a formula in Excel function to calculate this IRR. So we can establish it by plotting a series of bases, as you can see in this diagram. Here in y-axis this net present value is there, and this x-axis is showing the discount rate. So at that point we are getting this net present value 0. This point is basically the internal rate of return. It will show the internal rate of return. If you talk about the pros and cons, pros is it calculates figure which is easily comparable to interest rates, and the cons is it is difficult to calculate as it is iterative functions and all. And it is a standard way to compare the projects. So okay, thanks to all.